Koyemi recently said he's the best smelling man in the whole of Lagos. Even if you are the best smelling man in Nigeria and your perfume is worth $1 billion, once you do not use deodorant under your arms, you will smell. You will stink. Your perfume is not as important as your deodorant. You can use deodorant and be fine, but you don't need perfume.
Sweat in its natural state is odorless. So sweat doesn't have odor, but what gives the odor to the sweat is the effect of the bacteria in the body acting on the sweat.
Okay, so the other day I was at the supermarket and I saw this guy, like he came to buy deodorant. When he asked for the price of the deodorant, they told him it was like 5K or 6K thereabouts. And he was like, come on, like, deodorant I used to buy 700 naira back in the day. How am I going to afford it? That means a lot of people will have body odor.
Bathing means different things to different people. And like I said, don't forget that the more apocrine glands you have, the more you may need to be. So if you're very hairy, right, you need to be more attentive to yourself when you're taking your bath. So when conversation with a couple of my guys and somehow oral sex crept into the conversation. So they were asking me, is it okay? I said, medically, you can do what you have to do. It's a thing of preference. The first question they asked was, how do we do with a genital that smell? And I'm like, you should know the genitals you go to. And these are the things that play in. So what happens in the genital region is that for male and female, hair grows, right? And then that's the part of the body that has, I think, the most apocrine glands. So There's a whole lot of sweaty issues. So it's not just about, you need to be attentive while being there. So even when it comes to taking care of the hairs, sometimes you need to cut off the hairs to be able to, it's not compulsory, everybody should shave. That's what I mean. You shave, you don't shave. The issue is be hygienic. It's bad for us men because we have issues with our underwears.
Why do men have issues with their underwear?
Most men don't change their underwears that.
Okay.
So, with this thing we use smell to, and it's hard to use smell because at a certain point, I want to call you're going to have your distinct smell. So you may think it's normal. So you just, okay, can wait tomorrow.
Growing up, we had like this help that used to stay with us that came, newly. And I remember each time we had like new help and they had body odor. My mom always used like lemon or lime to scrub their armpits. Can you date somebody that has body odor?
If you already have body odor, the issue of attraction is a problem.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Modern Headlines, where we dive beyond the clickbait and have the real conversation. So today we're going to be talking about body odor. Do you know anybody that has body odor? Have you ever battled with body odor? So today with me, I have a licensed nurse, and we're going to be discussing the science, the culture, and the awkwardness behind smelling bad. So I'll let you introduce yourself.
All right. Thank you so much for having me on Modern Headlines. My name is Akwa Okpan. I'm a nurse, a sexual and reproductive health educator, a podcaster. I host the podcast, the Intimate Matters podcast. And beyond that, I write. I'm also a voiceover artist, among so many other things. And it's my pleasure being here. Let's talk about this thing that affects many people.
Okay. So first of all, let's dive behind the medical aspect of things. Why do people smell?
In the context of body odor, because there are so many things that could make people smell, but in the context of body odor, oftentimes it's often associated with sweat. But sweat is not the actual problem. Sweat in its natural state is odorless.
Okay.
Right. So sweat doesn't have odor, but what gives the odor to the sweat is the effect of the bacteria in the body acting on the sweat. The main function of sweat is to cool the body. So if you heat up, you know that when you're hot, you sweat.
Yeah.
So it's expected that after you're done sweating, that the breeze that is blowing over that sweat will cool you down. So that's what we call convection. That's the major function. When puberty starts, comes the apocrine glands. Now, this one, unlike the other one that just open, that the sweat comes directly to the body surface, this one opens to air follicles. So that's why it's often found more like in the armpit, in the groin region, where we have more hairs. And it often looks like people that are hairy sweat more than those that are not, because they are going to have more apocrine glands than other people. So it's now this one that is kind of milky in color when it comes, but then also the bacteria act more on this one, right? And with the bacteria acting on the fluid that is coming out of the body, that's often what leads to this smell that we have.
So that means body odor is basically a bacterial infection?
Not a bacterial infection. It's I would want to call it like a reaction
Okay.
that if a microorganism, not just a bacteria, reacts with anything, often gives off smell. So, for example, if you keep palm wine, for example, and the microorganism act on it, it gives off yeast and it gives that characteristic alcohol smell. So, anytime there is a reaction, right, there's always going to be a smell.
Okay, so the other day I was at the supermarket and I saw this guy, like he came to buy deodorant. And when he asked for the price of the deodorant, they told him it was like 5K or 6K thereabout. And he was like, come on, like, deodorant I used to buy 700 naira back in the day. How am I going to afford it? That means a lot of people will have body odor. So then again, that brings me back to economic hardship. So a lot of people, because of the way things are very expensive, people cannot afford to buy these deodorants. I go to the gym and I see a lot of people, like I smell a lot of people with odor. I think most people, because they come to the gym, most people are not, I think it's an hygiene problem there. So you did not wash your gym wear that you wore yesterday and you were sweating, seriously, and you wore it back today again and you've worn that same shorts for 3 days, even though it's black and you think nobody
Yeah,
knows.
we love black
Of course, it's
shirts.
going to smell. Of course it's going to smell. So then again, you now have there are also a lot of people too. You see people who are, they will look fresh. You see a guy coming, well dressed, decked out in designers, but once they pass, it's like the smell just takes you out.
Okay, so if we're looking at that first, I know a whole lot of people, and unfortunately, I think I've said it as a form of joke. With the way this thing is getting expensive, the other end, is it really worth it? Are you sure we'll not just carry one nice leaf we love and rub, maybe like
No,
our
no, no,
farm?
no, no. Let me correct you. Let me say something right there. The importance of deodorant cannot be overemphasized. You can use perfume. Like, even if that perfume is, Okpeyemi recently said is the best smelling man in the whole of Lagos. Even if you are the best smelling man in Nigeria and your perfume is worth $1 billion, once you do not use deodorant
Yeah,
under
the roll
your
on.
arms, you will smell. You will stink.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. No, I was just talking about the fact with the economic reality that I was saying too.
Okay.
A lot of people say things like, shouldn't we just use leaf under there
Yeah.
and just get ourselves away? So it's basically one of the issues that we're having that is becoming quite expensive, especially we look at I do a whole lot of outreaches to school children because
Okay.
that's also another issue. It starts, like I said, talking about the apocrine glands. Most of these children, 13, 14, they've already, began puberty. So it starts
Yeah.
from there. And at that point, it needs to be taken care of. Because if left, it builds up, right?
Yes,
And it
of
becomes
course.
harder the longer you go on. So if it's this expensive and maybe the parents cannot buy it for children in school, maybe this is like when they're like 13, by the time they have their own money to be able to afford it, they're 23. That's 10 years.
Wow.
So you're trying to correct a thing that has
Over
taken
10
like
years
10
of body
years,
odor.
to build.
I think it can be corrected
So
by
it
the
can be, but the thing is that when I was a teenager, I wasn't much of a concern,
okay.
right?
It was for us because then, like the kind of secondary school I went to, it was a must. Like when they are checking you into boarding school, you must have at least 2 deodorants.
Yeah, but maybe it worked then. I don't know the secondary school you went, but if we look at the reality now, okay, let's say they enforce that as a rule for all boarding houses. With the
Yeah.
current economic reality, how many people can really afford it? You see, so that's the issue that we're having. And then, like when I say it doesn't affect, it's not like it's a good thing then to smell bad back then,
Yeah.
but it's just that it doesn't really affect self-esteem to some persons. Let me talk as a boy. We sweat a lot. We smelled a lot. I don't know about other people. I played a lot. I played a lot when I was growing up. People know me.
Okay.
So if I come around my boys and we are playing ball, if I meet my guys, it won't be up to like 15, 20 minutes. We'll be playing and sweating. So we might not really be able to distinguish who they smell. If we go school, come back, break time, we don't go play ball. So at that point, it's not really a problem. But as you grow older, you're getting into spaces. You don't have that excuse. I can
Yeah.
smell and give the excuse I was playing ball, right? So that's why I'm sweaty and I'm smelly. But what will I say if I walk into a meeting now? I play for house, carry come meeting. So that is actually the problem that, and you also talk about hygiene, which is very important
Yeah.
because it's like I said, it's the bacteria that is reacting. So when you're washing, you need to wash it off, as the case may be. But some people are not just, I want to say, not just conscious enough. Some people are claim bathing to just running the water, right? So bathing means different things to different people. And like I said, don't
Yes.
forget that the more apocrine glands you have, the more you may need to be. So if you're very hairy, right, you need to be more attentive to yourself when you're taking your bath. And we also look at people that may be obese. If you know you have, if you know you're chubby, let me put it that way. Obesity is one, but if you know you have body fat, so already you're growing folds in skin, so
Okay.
it means the date can hide there. And now this thing even transcends beyond this. I see it based on what I do as a sexual and reproductive health educator. It doesn't even make you sexually desirable. So
Right.
when conversation with a couple of my guys and somehow oral sex crept into the conversation. So they were asking me, is it okay? I said, medically, you can do what you have to do. It's a thing of preference. And the first question they asked was, how do we do with a genital that smell? And I'm like, you should know the genitals you go to. And these are the things that play in. So what happens in the genital region is that for male and female, hair grows, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then that's the part of the body that has, I think, the most apocrine glands. So there's a
Okay.
whole lot of sweaty issues. So it's not just about, you need to be attentive while being there. So even when it comes to taking care of the hairs, sometimes you need to cut off the hairs to be able to. It's not compulsory. Everybody should shave. That's what I mean. You shave, you don't shave. The issue is be hygienic. Yes,
Okay.
cutting down the hair, shaving or trimming will help you improve your hygiene. But if you can keep it and be hygienic, then it's very good. And also we look at the kind of clothes you wear. So people don't know that there are certain clothes that trap heat. And I think, okay, before I go to the gym, okay, let me start with the gym people. The thing is about the gym is that it's good that, you're in the gym, you're wearing a couple of clothes that shows the hard work you've put in. Talking about the fact you have to wear clothes that shows the biceps, the triceps, and everything. It's a nice thing. But most of these clothes are polyester, right?
Okay.
So they're synthetic
No, there's
materials.
some that are
Because
cotton.
yeah, some are cotton, but most of them are synthetic materials so that they can stretch and all those things. Those kind of material trap heat and makes you sweat more. Same
Yeah.
thing goes to the women. They love thongs. Most thongs are made of synthetic materials. So you're wearing the kind of panties that is going to make you're wearing lace and the rest that is going to make you look nice on wherever you are. But then it might not be good when it comes to sweating. So people don't really take this into consideration. So, and also, if the kind of work you do, does it push you to sweat? Even when some people feel like sit in their office, there are people, like I said, if you're very hairy, if you notice you may sit and you're leaning, even though there is a fan, there's a conditioning system. When you stand up, you're sweating, all of those kind of things. And then it's bad for us men because we have issues with our underwears.
Why do men have issues with their underwear?
Most men don't change their underwears that often.
Okay.
So, with this thing we use smell to, and it's hard to use smell because at a certain point, I want to call you're going to have this your distinct smell. So you may think it's normal. So you just, okay, I can wait tomorrow. So, and that is how we play. So that's just the way most of these things, these factors jump in and become something that affects the way people smell.
Okay. So, what are the actual solutions? Give us like five do's and don'ts to avoid body odor.
All right. So I don't think I mentioned this, but there is a genetic inclination to body odor. Like you said, I'll be like, see, I take my bath, I wear this, I use,
Yeah.
it could
So
be.
sorry to cut you. So back in uni, I remember one time went visiting a friend, and I went with another friend, and that my friend was saying to me, "Oh, your friend has body odor. Why have you not told her?" I'm like, "Come on, like I can't tell her." I felt like it would be embarrassing. Like I felt like it wasn't my place to tell. But then again, like when I got older, I also had another friend whom I met, and she had body odor as well. But I kind of found a way to say it like, oh babe, your armpit, I think your armpit is too hairy. You shouldn't have hairy armpits when you're wearing sleeveless. I kind of like went in like that. Oh, then growing up, we had like this help that used to stay with us that came, newly. And I remember each time we had like new help and they had body odor, my mom will always use like lemon or lime to scrub their armpit. So I said to her, oh, you can, just trim when you want to wear sleeveless, shave, use lemon. Even if you don't want to use deodorant, use lemon to, scrub down.
Okay, so like you said, the conversation around body odor can be quite awkward, and
Yeah.
also depends on your relationship with the person, the kind of things because you can't just. Some people may be bold enough to just meet someone for the first
I
time.
think for now, as an adult now, I think I can have that conversation. The only thing is that I'm going to let you know that it's coming from a place of love, because then again, I had situations where people would laugh at that those people. You're my friend. I cannot say I don't know. Do you understand? And
Okay.
people are laughing at my friend. I'd rather tell you the truth than let anybody laugh at you. Like, come on now, that's why you have friends. So your friends should be able to tell you the painful truth so that other people will not laugh at you.
Yeah, that's actually how it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
But either for sinister reasons or for the fact that some people may not feel comfortable saying it, some people don't
Yeah.
actually want to tell anybody.
Yeah.
So they may actually. I think I have that issue. I just haven't walked around myself enough to tell somebody I know who may even be watching this podcast that the way she actually smells
I think
is
I
not
can say,
pleasant.
like, you can. I think you can
'Cause-
start by saying, "I don't want you to be offended.
No, I can
love
actually
you
tell
so
her.
much."
I can actually tell her,
but-
even if it's face to face, I
Yeah,
can.
yeah.
But I'm also feeling also because another issue would be it's not just about you being able to, is about the response of the person, the way people react. You have your friends. There are people that you can tell a particular thing to two people suffering the same issue and they respond differently.
Yes, they react
So
differently.
it's not about me saying I could say it, but I'm very, very much worried about the bruise on the ego and the self-esteem.
Is the person
from
your
the side of
girlfriend?
the person is not my girlfriend.
So why are you so worried? Like,
No,
okay,
I'm
okay.
worried. She's somebody I like.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm very, very worried on how much it's going to bruise.
Okay, so use the approach we used to use when we were younger. So if somebody has mouth odor, you give them chewing gum. So how about you buy deodorant for her?
I wouldn't think she lacks it, but I'll try to ask
How
her.
does she not?
I'll try
Well,
to
then
ask-
again, you said it could be genetic. So
Yeah. So I could try to ask her. That comes to how to treat it. I could try to ask around it because, they may need. There are certain deodorants, right, that may be prescribed medically when they notice that this is a prolonged thing, and it's a little bit more enhanced to help.
Okay.
It might not just be like the normal,
the regular one.
Yeah.
But then
deodorant.
again, because it's not diagnosed that it's a medical,
Go.
so you could just start with the regular
Regular
one. Then
one.
if it doesn't
Work,
change, then yeah.
then you go. So
Yeah.
So sometimes they may need to do some Botox filling. So if they do Botox, it's like more or less to reduce sweating,
Botox
Yeah.
to correct over.
over sweating
Okay.
and all those. Sometimes it goes as far as surgery.
Wow.
Yeah, surgery to sever some nerves. All these, basically, what most of this treatment is around is the issue of sweat. Because when there's no sweat and there's no bacteria to break it down, there won't be any odor.
For me,
Right.
I don't think sweat is, like you said, bacteria will be the problem here, or maybe the genetic reasons, or maybe hormones, or maybe even the food, because I'm somebody, I work out a lot and I like to sweat. Like when you sweat, I don't know if it's because like you feel like you've done something, the burn from, working out intensively for, a couple of hours or minutes makes you feel good.
So it's not the bacteria, because the bacteria will always stay on your skin. It's what the bacteria reacts with, which is the sweat.
Okay.
Right. So because the bacteria will always, these bacteria are not like there are like disease causing bacteria that come to
Okay.
cause disease. They're just like your normal body flora that are just there. But if this is seen, such people, because to help you clean up so that it doesn't pile up again, they may need to reduce the amount of sweat that comes in. And I talked about people that have issues like underlying diseases. So if this thing is caused by underlying disease, that means that disease has to be taken care of if you are ever to be actually free from this body odor. But it's essential that as you want people to seek help, you ask them questions, and then if it goes beyond them using, like you said, get them deodorant for them to use. But if you see that it persists even after they've done what they could, such people need to go to the hospital.
Okay, so I asked earlier, I don't think you answered that. So what are your 5 do's and don'ts to avoid
Okay, so
body odor?
five do's and don'ts. First is your personal hygiene. By personal hygiene, I think you need to take care of the hairs in your body. Either you want to cut it off, either you want to make sure that you're very attentive to it to keep it clean. It's very essential. You need to watch out for what you eat.
Yeah.
You are what you eat. This is part of the things that it plays out directly that you're what you eat. So you need to reduce food that are spicy. I talked about garlic, cinnamon, and the rest. These are things that can seep into your body fluid, and when they come out, surely they're going to smell, and people could. So if you see somebody that's consistently, for whatever reason, been using either ginger or garlic, you can smell the person from afar off, and then it sticks to the cloth. Now, I think I didn't talk also about that one, the fact that you need to be very attentive to the hygiene of your clothes too,
Yeah.
not just about your body, even your towel.
Yeah. Sorry to cut you. I think some people develop body odor by repeating clothes.
Yeah.
It's not even about the bacteria and the sweat. It's about
The clothes.
yeah.
So things like
Clothes.
towel, because when you're wiping it off, all those things you're wiping it off, if it's not properly disposed, if it's not properly sun dried, and you use it again, all of them come back. Also watch the things you wear. So I talked about synthetic and natural materials. Cotton, those are things that are free. They call them breathable. So that if you sweat, it's breathable. Air can come in and can help to dry up. But if it's synthetic materials, nylon,
Yeah.
polythene, and the rest, so it traps
Smell.
the sweat. It traps. So if we have sweat, we have heat, we have bacteria acting on it, there's going to be smell. It's a reaction, surely. So you also look at if you have underlying issues. And for people, please watch your weight. People who are obese are more likely to have body odor. So not just because their body's metabolism leads you to produce sweat more, but because you have more folds of fat that those debris, those dates can hide under. So if you see people who are chronically obese, they need to even carry some fold of fat and try to clean off. Because sometimes you have so much wrinkles of fat that you don't know that it can hide. So basically, I think that will help.
Okay. So my next question is, can you date somebody that has body odor?
Can I date somebody that has body odor? No, I don't
Yes.
think I can.
You can't?
No, I can't. Why I say I
Yeah.
can't date somebody that has body odor, it's not really because there are other things like, okay, for example, you could marry a woman who doesn't have body odor. I talked about hormonal changes like in menopause and pregnancy and the rest. So you
Yeah.
can develop.
Yeah.
But if you already have body odor, the issue of attraction is a problem
True.
to me,
Okay.
right?
No,
So,
even generally,
yeah,
like people
so
will not be
even
attracted to you.
getting attracted to you is a problem.
Yeah.
Now, could I stay with somebody who has body odor? Depends. We could try to see how to fight it up, and also depends on the context of a relationship. We can try to see how to fight it up. But if you big past me, I feel don't run.
There are people that will not even agree that they have body odor. Like
Yeah.
there are people that no matter what you tell them, they'll be like, "Me, I don't have body odor. I don't have." Meanwhile, you're not using deodorant. You think that by using perfume that you have cured. In fact, I used to say to like my younger cousins, like, your perfume is not as important as your deodorant. You can use deodorant and be fine, but you don't need perfume. Because at the end of the day, by the time you add perfume,
Yeah, that's an
already existing smell.
It gets.
Please, you have killed all of us.
Yeah. So it gets murkier as
Yeah.
the case may be. So that's the issue. So it's not just like if you look at the side effects, it's not just about the fact that you inconvenience someone. It's the fact that at a certain point, the longer you go on with it, it's going to eat into your self-esteem. Because in as much as it's not good to discriminate, but people cannot help. People want to protect themselves. People want to shy away from you. People want to shift away from you. And then you start noticing.
And to even be very, like, there are people that have lost, you could actually lose a good thing, like a good contract,
jobs,
a good job. because-
friendship,
Yeah.
connection,
Yeah.
network, because of body odor.
Of course.
Yes,
and
you
I've
can.
seen it happen. Somebody has lost a great opportunity because of body odor.
Yeah. So if, let's say,
And when, sorry to cut you, and when he was narrating it, and the person was like, "Oh, you have like a distinct smell that I feel irritates me." The person couldn't believe it. The person was answering from a place of ego, like, "Me smell? I don't smell. It's you that knows what you're smelling."
it happens. It happens. I also feel like I said, also how you preach. So, like I said, this is a very sensitive thing, and it's also something that really affects people.
Yeah.
I have had to say the same thing. So my sibling points and I'm like, what are you saying?
Your sibling-
My sibling points out to me and I'm like,
Okay, you said Your sibling told you that you had body odor and you doubted them.
No, not body odor per se,
Okay.
but you come into the space and maybe, okay, let's use this one. I want to use a cloth. My sibling comes and be like, that cloth is sweaty. Now, sometimes you can mix it up. The fact that it's, sometimes that's always the issue with people, that you've become so used to that smell, right?
Yeah.
So it's like when you get into somebody's house, most likely if it's smelling badly, that person may not know, because they're gonna feel they're in the room. It's easier for somebody who's just stepping in to notice a bad odor inside a room than somebody who was already. So if I'm using a clothes, I might like, I want to use this clothes, and they'll be like, okay, that clothes is sweaty. So it's ego, and sometimes be like, which clothes you get, all those kind of stuff. Clothes that I just wore only 5 minutes yesterday. You know, all of, so that's the same thing that plays into when most times you tell people they have, but they're like, me. No, it's not me, and all of those kind of, and sometimes it could even be the environment. So you're telling a fine boy he has body odor in front of fine girls. No, no. You want to cut his teeth and composure. So most times he will want to defend himself. Oftentimes they will go back and want to look at it again, go and check out if they actually do, right? And sometimes also, especially if you're living in close proximity with them,
Yeah.
their ego may push them so much that this is both male and female, that they may not want to do what you said they should do, so that it doesn't look as if what you said was true. So be like, maybe you should be using more deodorant, to be like, yes, I know I should, but I won't want to use it. He will say that, he or she will say that he or she was right. So those are the kind of issues that we have.
So, guys, don't forget, it's not about shaming, it's about self love, and it's also public service. To love yourself, use deodorant, and make sure you do not smell. Thank you so much for coming today, Akwao. Thank you for sharing your knowledge with us.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me, Kate.
And hopefully, we'll see you on another episode.
I'm really looking forward to coming back.
Don't forget to share this episode with your friends, just in case they have body odor. We're not shaming. Hope you enjoyed the episode. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this episode with your family and friends. See you on our next episode. Bye.